I'd like to welcome my guests from the Oak Lawn Children's Museum, Darlene Blantz, chairperson, Rich Farron, exhibit designer, and Beth Gelman, executive director. Welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. Darlene, can you give us a brief history of the Children's Museum?
Sure, Ron. In the spring of 2000, an Oak Lawn mom, Carol Marsh, came up with this idea. She found there was a real lack in this area of a children's museum. To the north, you had to go all the way downtown Chicago, to the south, Bourbonnais, and to the west, all the way to DuPage County. And Oak Lawn was the perfect location for this whole suburban area. Shortly thereafter, we formed a founding board, and June 10th of 2000, we met. After that, the Park District donated the use of a small building on one of the most beautiful sites in Oak Lawn at 9600 East Shore Drive. And then we had the good fortune of having some money from Illinois First funds to renovate that building. And since that time, we've had a lot of individuals, businesses, and organizations donate either time or talent or treasure to us. And we will be opening the end of this month.
That's very exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting.
I know from day one, I'm thinking, how are you guys going to ever put it together? But you did it.
It happens. It's going to happen.
There's no question about it. Rich, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been on before, but for those who haven't seen, tell us what you do and what brought you to the Children's Museum.
Well, I'm an exhibit designer, and I was working out at the DuPage Children's Museum in Naperville, and I ran into Darlene and Kathy Sepacan, who's the board chair, through a sort of network of different people who had been talking about the Oak Lawn project, and I was very intrigued. A number of people had mentioned to me, you can't believe this really exciting group of people down there who are starting this museum, and they'd like to talk with somebody, and I was intrigued, and so we got together and we started to talk, and I more or less sort of tried to badger them into allowing me to be part of it, because it seemed like such an exciting project from the very beginning.
It's great. Beth, congratulations and welcome to Oak Lawn. You're the new executive director, new position that you're filling, I understand. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what family type of events that you're planning for the Children's Museum.
I'm glad to. Well, my background, I actually was at the DuPage Museum also when it was moving from its Wheaton facility into Naperville, and recently I was at Terra Museum of American Art. And it's such a thrilling opportunity to be able to join at the birth of this new museum, and I've been so impressed by these incredible people who've pulled off this feat of opening up this museum so quickly. I'm excited. As for events, our big event, our big gala opening is on May 31st. It's an adults-only event, black tie optional. And the adults who come will be treated to entertainment and food and have an opportunity to tour the museum and also perhaps get their hands dirty a little bit by working some of the exhibits. We have family events all through the summer and planned into the year. In June, we're going to be looking at insects through some of our arts and crafts activities, do some water play and sand play in July, and then we have the dog days of August. And then there's our annual Pee Wee golf outing too.
Well, that sounds like a fabulous thing. Darlene, you've had challenge after challenge, but what do you think has been your greatest challenge?
Well, Ron, I think the biggest challenge has been to try to secure funding for something that didn't exist yet. We had the dream, we had the ideas, we even had pictures on pieces of paper, but it didn't exist. And that was difficult for some people. Then the longer it took, the more people began to wonder, is this really going to happen? But the board, I must compliment, they really persevered through all of this. And here we are. This is the month we're going to open.
And you're to be congratulated for that. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
Rich, you've been involved with other children's museums. What's different? What separates the Oak Lawn Children's Museum from other museums?
There are two things that I think are very distinctive. The first is the people that were involved in starting this thing. These are people that are from the community. They know the community, they're teachers, they're professionals, they're invested in the community, and they had one of the most important things in developing a museum is to having a desire and a real commitment to serving the community. I mean, that's what a museum is. It's a community resource. And that was undying and powerful throughout the whole thing. So that essentially is important because that is why it will be and have a powerful impact on the local area. The second thing, it's not so much the exhibits that have been developed, but Beth mentioned some of the programs that are already being developed. It was a commitment of the group that was developing the project from the very beginning that it was going to be a combination of the programs and the exhibits as a vehicle, as a way to sort of start things going, that was going to be the essential component of this museum. And that is, I think that's really happened. Beth is talking about some really exciting programs which will use the exhibits as a launch pad. And that was a vision that the group that developed the exhibit, the group that included Darlene and Kathy and many others, had from the very start. And they were steadfast in that commitment.
That's great. Beth, tell us why some of our parents and children should come to your new museum.
Well, there's so many reasons why they should come. It's this wonderfully little intimate jewel of a museum, and especially for the age group of the kids that we're focusing on, which is 2 through 8. It's easy for them to be overwhelmed in large areas, and this will be such a wonderful place. It's on this wonderful park. There's a lovely little pond. There's a playground close by. And the other reason is, as Rich mentioned, it is a community resource. It's a safe place for families to come, interact with each other, and also connect with other families from the community.
Well, that's a fabulous thing. Darlene, when will the museum be open, and what are some of the costs that are going to be involved to the public to go there?
Wednesday, June 4th will be really our first day of accepting guests to come in. And the hours are going to be limited at first from 1 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday, with extended hours on Thursday till 8 o'clock at night. So we can get some of the working parents involved also. The fees are going to be $3 per child, $3.50 per adult as a daily fee. And then we'll have memberships. The yearly child membership fee would be $25, and a family membership would be $55. That would include the 2 adults and all the children in the household. Then, because we have so many families that have grandparents so actively involved, we have the grand package, which will include 2 grandparents and all their grandchildren, and that's $60. And then we have the All in the Family, which is $100 membership, and that's 2 adults, all the children in the household, the grandparent, and also we'd have 2 guest passes, so they could bring other family members along.
That is very impressive in today's society, and you've piqued my interest with the grandparents thing, because we just returned from Disney World with our entire family. We just had a great deal, and we've visited the Chicago Children's Museum probably about 10 times already, and it's just a place, a wholesome place where young people can learn what's going on. And as an aside, the Oak Lawn Lake project was mine as a trustee.
I remember.
So it's just doubly nice to see this little icing on the cake, if you will, over there to the project. So it's really, really, really exciting. Someone wants to get involved with the museum, Beth. How do they get involved?
Well, they should call the museum, and you know what? I even wrote down the telephone number to give a nice visual here. And they can call it at 708-423-6709.
Okay. Is there any names they should ask for? Should they ask for you?
They can ask for me.
Okay. Great. We look forward to the grand opening, and candidly, I'm still really rather stunned by how inexpensive this is going to be. It's really going to be something that I think that just about everybody in Oak Lawn can afford and take part of, and you're all to be congratulated for your efforts with this, and just another feather in our hat in Oak Lawn. And I want to just thank you all for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.